Well, hello everyone, Texie88 here and welcome to another retro gaming review. And this time I bring you Gerry Anderson's Thunderbirds for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, brought out by Firebird Software in 1985. And as you probably guessed, it's based on the famous Supermarionation puppet-based television series of the same name, which came out in the mid-1960s. Now, it frequently got repeated on television, and it still holds up really well today, despite the fact that it's now 55 years old, or thereabouts. I mean, not only was there this game, but there was also a 2015 crowd-funded board game, which is also very, very enjoyable and very faithful to its source material. Basically, Thunderbirds are this secret organisation that carry out really daring rescues using what was considered state-of-the-art equipment, and they were so secret that they had to make sure that their identity and their whereabouts remained unknown. And the original television series contained model work so good that it still looks great now, and it was worked on by no less a man than Derek Meddings, who also worked on major film productions such as some of the James Bond series and even miniature work on, say, the 1978 Superman film, the one that launched a then little known Christopher Reeve in the role that made him not only well renowned but also considered to be the ultimate performer of the Man of Steel. But that's enough about the television series and the Man of Steel and basically everything else. Let's just see how this game turns out. So you got this beeper rendition of Barry Gray's famous Thunderbirds theme. You can press a key and you get flickering water effects. Now I'm going to leave it for a bit because I'm going to show you some interesting things that happen. Notice Thunderbird 2 taking off in the background, although oddly enough he never actually took off like that from Tracy Island. He always went on this ramp and took off sort of at a 33-degree angle, and he wonders how it didn't just crash and then it tipped over the edge. And there's Thunderbird 1 taking off in its hidey hole in the swimming pool. So you're basically trying to rescue scientists from this pyramid, this big pyramid maze, and so let's get on with this. So you start your mission with 4,000 points and no cargo. Thunderbird 2 can carry up to 40 tons of equipment in its hold. Shouldn't be an apostrophe in its. Not on that occasion, because it's not a contraction of it is or it has. Each ton carried will lose 100 points from your starting score. Experienced players may choose not to carry any equipment, but keeping the points, making this simulation more difficult. Simulation is based on a fictitious series, so simulation's a bit of a stretch. Right, this is where you can actually choose what Thunderbird 2 carries. These are all things that can potentially help you on your mission. And these are basically what are contained in those pods that you saw in the television series. One thing that irritates a little is that this game uses cursor key controls. That'll do me. I've got my maximum cargo 40. If I add any more, it won't let me continue. Nice sound effects here. Remember, this is a 48K Spectrum. There was no 128K Spectrum in 1985. So basically how it works is in these sections you've got the different coloured blocks. You've got the cyan blocks and green blocks and red blocks. Red blocks can be moved by either Thunderbird. Whereas green blocks can only be moved by Thunderbird 2, which is why I've switched to control of Thunderbird 2 to push this. And the cyan blocks can only be moved by Thunderbird 1. Now, it tells you in the bottom left corner which craft you're in control of. So now I'm in control of Thunderbird 1, it's faster, but I needed that to be able to move that. And you have to keep an eye on your fuel. These white things where you can top up that fuel meter at the bottom. You'll die if your fuel completely depletes. And those magenta things are just priceless treasures. They don't actually contribute. They're not essential, but they do add to your score. So I'm going to push that there because I need to get Thunderbird 2 through. No, I can't go up there because Thunderbird 2 can't get through that gap. I can't actually do it. I need to switch back to Thunderbird 1. You have to be really careful with that block because it's very easy if you don't use it properly for... Actually, no. Hold on. Smooth animation of the ships turning around, I have to admit. I would have preferred if it didn't use cursor key controls because they can be quite irritating and it's very easy to get it wrong. As you probably guessed, you can't actually touch that creature. If you do, you lose one of those lives. Those 3 men that are in the bottom left corner there above where it shows which ship you're controlling. Now it's very tempting to push that forward, but don't. You need Thunderbird 1 to go there later. Now if I'd taken the weed killer with me, I could have killed that weed on the left and simply gone up there, but because I didn't have enough space for that, I had to make do without that. You have to be very careful which order you do things, otherwise you could really F things up. So push that, then this, not the other way round. Otherwise, you'll block off Thunderbird 1's passage later. Now, and here's another thing: I have to move Thunderbird 2 through here first, because otherwise he'll be blocked, and I won't be able to complete the mission. And you also have to be extremely careful about not going too fast into another room. It's very easy to accidentally push a block you didn't intend to and completely screw up any chance you have of being able to complete a mission. Now I've got to wait for this spider to go back up. Quite why a spider would be so lethal to a great big ship like Thunderbird 2 is anyone's guess, but there you go. Right, now I'm going to call back on Thunderbird 1 because he has to do a lot of backtracking here because he needs to go back a long way round, and I really hope I don't run out of fuel. I'm in the red. Come on, you wolf thing, whatever the hell you are, bugger off. Now you can see why I didn't push that green block there, because I would have completely blocked off Thunderbird 1 from being able to go anywhere. Now, again, this is yet another occasion where I have to do things in a very specific order so I don't block off the other ship. I have to get Thunderbird 2 back here before I get Thunderbird 1 to push this block. Shit! Bollocks! What kind of a spider is that can kill a great big ship like this? Actually, it's not even that big a ship. But, what kind of a spider is that? It's massive. Right, I need to keep Thunderbirds 1 there for the moment. And I do mean literally there. Nowhere else will do. Bit of colour clash there. God, I always panic whenever I do these bits with Thunderbird 2 because he's so much bigger and slower. So he's more likely to get... So she's more likely to get hit than Thunderbird 1. See, remember that again, another bit where I have to do things in a very specific order. Thunderbird 2 can't go upwards unless I get that cyan block that's poking out of the way. So he's too wide, so I need to get over here. I push that one, but not that one, because otherwise that red block will fall on top of Thunderbird 1 and crush it. And if you die while in a room with blocks in like this, it's game over no matter how many lives you've got left. And I'm talking of which, I really need to get some fuel. I'm gonna run out of fuel. Bollocks. But anyway, I've been playing that for 13 odd minutes now, so I'll wind up the review there. That's effectively what you do in Thunderbirds. You're trying to rescue some scientists that have got trapped. So let's get on to the usual review stuff that I normally do. Graphics. Nice use of colour with virtually no clash, and look how colourful that screen is, and it's got nice water effect animation as well there. This is an absolute beautiful game to look at, especially for a game from 1985, and even the sound effects are really quite good for a Spectrum 48K. Remember, the 128K Spectrum, its superior sounder capabilities were still a little way off there. There was a room in which I could have done that if I had the right equipment in Thunderbird 2, but I did not. That pool seems to have got a lot smaller in that animation. But so graphics very nice, and nice use of colour, great choices of and that does actually look a bit like a pyramid maze, so I'm quite impressed with that. And both of the ships are beautifully animated, especially when they turn around and face from right to left or left to right. And so yeah, really can't complain about the graphics. And notice how even the number 2 on Thunderbird 2 doesn't look like a 5 when the ship's facing the other way. So even regardless of which way the ship is facing, the 2 looks like a 2, which is another nice touch. And sound effects, really good for such a system with limited sound capabilities. I'm really impressed with them. That's the mole which I took when I never had a chance to actually get to one of these bits where you use them. That would have allowed me to actually go under where the mole's about to burrow, so I wouldn't have to go past the spiders in that respect. So even the sound effect of that's really good. I mean, this is on a 48K Spectrum, and it's got sound like this. It's really incredible what some of the things they managed to pull off in such a humble machine. Gameplay, controls responsive enough. I was kind of let down by the fact it uses the classic 5, 6, 7, 8 cursor keys controls, which represent left, down, up, right respectively. I mean, they are a bit uncomfortable if the truth be told, and it's very easy to make a mistake with that layout. The other thing is that it's kind of a shame that it's so punishing if you make a mistake. Can you imagine how frustrating it would be if you got a really long way and your whole entire mission was thwarted just because you inadvertently pushed a block you didn't mean to push, or even did things in the wrong order? Because as you saw, it does matter which order you do certain things in. So it is a bit overly punishing, which is kind of a shame. So that is unfortunately going to impact on my final score. And talking of which, I think I'm going to give Thunderbirds 1985 for the Sinclair. I'm saying 1985 because there was another later Thunderbirds game, to avoid confusion. So Thunderbirds 1985 by Firebird, I'm going to give 7 out of 10. Nice presentation and sound, but some frustrating aspects make the game perhaps less enjoyable than it could have been, and the fact that you can be so heavily punished for even making a simple mistake, and the mistake is irretrievable. It's not like one of those games where you can exit the screen, go back in, and everything's back in its original position. So once you made a mistake, you're pretty much scuppered. And it's really quite saddening it's like that. But it's still worth a look. It's just whether or not the aforementioned frustrations will adversely affect its lastability in your eyes. So that's this review done and dusted. Hope you enjoyed it. Texie88 out.